I don't have a Halloween costume. It's funny how the holidays kind of sneak up on you, even though they're always in the exact same spot. So yeah, I don't have a Halloween costume. I mean, I have costumes. They just are not here right now. Been getting super busy into the magazine and CoffeeCon and everything that's going on. Got an issue coming out. Just trying to ramp up all of these projects that I've been working on with Coffee Lovers Radio and Coffee Lovers TV and Coffee Lovers Magazine. I'm trying to figure out how to best integrate the TV shows into the magazine. Because right now you download the magazine, the app's free, and there are a couple of free issues, and you can subscribe to get the monthly issues. What I'd like to do for those who subscribe to the magazine is have it so that everything is kind of there, since you're in the app, and just make it really easy for you to get the latest TV show, the latest radio episode, etc. That's what I'd like to do. It's going to get a little crowded though with all the stuff going on in there, so I have to figure out an elegant solution. I'm drinking right now a little concoction. I've been playing around with blending roasts myself, post-roast blending. I actually have a dark roast blend from Conduit. That's the Ship Canal, and I added into it, I think this version is still the one with there's a natural El Salvador. So it has the deep chocolatiness of the Ship Canal, and it's balanced out in a way that I like with this sort of bright fruitiness. I have kind of an obsession with fruity, chocolatey coffees at the same time, fruity and chocolatey. I think that's one of the reasons I love the Yemen coffees that I've had so much, because they've been kind of like that, where they have a rich, sweet fruitiness, a nice bright edge, and then a deep chocolatiness, kind of like chocolate-covered strawberries, or like some kind of fruit pie with fudge on top or something like that. That actually kind of leads into what am I trying to do with well, I'll just call them the review videos. I mean, I've been avoiding calling them reviews because that sounds that sounds a little boring to me, but also I want them to be quite a bit more than that. My intent when I started doing those was that I wanted to just kind of show you the process that I go through, and also what is possible in terms of the experience. See, the thing is, I know that this has happened to me, this happened to pretty much everyone I've talked to in coffee, is that at some point you have an experience with a coffee that is of exceptional quality. And even if you don't realize it at that point, although you usually do, but even if you don't realize it, it kind of distorts your perception. Like, once you have coffee that's not burned, you can't not taste burned in burned coffee anymore. Once you've had coffee that has a lot of interesting complexity, even if you can't see it or describe it, it still somehow comes out in that. Other coffee starts to taste flat and boring. Like, I had a taste of a McDonald's coffee the other day, and I know that that's something, a coffee that is enjoyed by a lot of people, and I've heard that it's not that bad. High praise, right? Not that bad. And so I tried it, and my reaction was not that bad. I mean, it was kind of boring, a little flat, if I can be super critical, but given the right circumstances, I certainly would enjoy a cup of that. That opens up a whole nother kettle of fish, which I'm not looking to do here, which is just that the goodness of a coffee is far more about what you're feeling and who you're with, and just kind of your state of being, I think, than the actual coffee itself. But I think that if you take those states of being and put really well-made coffee on top of it, it just becomes even better. Tough thing to argue, though. But I will say there's nothing quite like a well-crafted coffee. There's just something about the quality and the taste and the experience that you get out of a coffee that is just made well, that is well crafted at every step, and as well when it has interesting dynamics to it. There's just something about that, and it's more than it just tastes good. It's more than it tastes interesting. It's because even on the days when I don't know how to say what I'm tasting, there's something that feels so much better about drinking a damn good cup of coffee than a cup of coffee that is objectively, from a taste and taste experience perspective, boring. There's just something there. I suppose if I was to put an analogy to it, it could be kind of like if you look at photographs. Let's take photographs for example. You can take a photograph of a beautiful scene and the photograph can be boring. You can take a photograph of a beautiful scene and the photograph can be astounding. And that comes down to a lot of factors, mostly into the craft of the photographer. The scene is still beautiful, either way, but you just feel better looking at the photograph that is made super well. Looking at the most beautiful photograph of the scene, you just feel better about it. I think there's a lot of parallels there in a coffee that's made. I mean, we're talking about experiences that can't be visualized. So I think it's harder to point and say, aha, yes, well, obviously that coffee is using the golden rule to frame its perspective, and it's got excellent shading and light. You can't do that with a cup of coffee. Anyhow, so what's the point of the reviews? I just want to give you the opportunity to see what can be. And I hope that if something in what I do piques your curiosity or you have some interest in it, that it kind of takes you down the rabbit hole, because that is what it's all about. And that's the hardest thing, I think, to discover when you're trying to get into coffee. And even if you don't realize that, like, that's a challenge. You don't know that there is this whole other world and that it is that good until you've had the one experience that kind of changes your perspective. That's all I'll say on that today. Go check out, okay, so I did for Coffee Lovers Radio this week, I wrote and recorded a little Halloween coffee horror show called Coffee House of Horror Volume 1. I figure I can do a series on these. And it's pretty campy, kind of goofy, but it was a lot of fun to make. So go check that out. Visit coffeeloversradio.com. If you don't see it there, you can get it in the iTunes. You can get it Coffee Lovers Radio on iTunes. You can get it on SoundCloud on Coffee Lovers Radio, and I should also be putting it up on the website coffeeloversmag.com. I've been really bad about updating the website with, like, I've got a bunch of new shows and I haven't put them on the website. I need to get better at that, and I have some articles kind of waiting in the wings. I get a lot of lofty ideas, and then it takes some time to figure out the processes necessary to make sure every little detail happens and continues to happen. So it's a process, but it's all coming along. We'll be having a new issue out very soon, so keep your eyes on that. And until then, I hope you have a great week and some tasty coffee.